You know that moment. You sit down to do the one thing that matters and your brain suddenly becomes a theater of doubt. A slick inner voice listing reasons to delay, to edit down, to hide. It's not laziness. It's a predictable biological pattern. Your threat detection circuits treat novel effort as risk, then feed the prefrontal stage with rehearsed objections. This video teaches one single, repeatable 90-second ritual, the Saboteur Switch, built on proven behavioral and neuroscientific mechanisms that turns that spike of sabotage into immediate momentum. By the end, you'll have a short script, a microphysiological reset, and a simple anchor to make it automatic. Start by noticing how this feels in your body. For most people, sabotage shows up as a tightening of the chest, a quick shallow breath, and a flood of what-ifs. That combination is key. The body reacts faster than thought, and once the body signals threat, the brain colors every idea with caution. The Saboteur Switch exploits that timeline. If you can intervene in the body, label the feeling, introduce a small unexpected action, you can create a prediction error that breaks the loop and lets prefrontal control reassert itself. Call the framework, notice, interrupt, re-anchor. Each step is tiny, but together they create a disproportionate effect. Step 1. Notice, 10 seconds. The neuroscience labeling a feeling, I'm noticing anxiety, reduces amygdala activation and engages prefrontal cortex pathways. Practice. Pause and say out loud one sentence in the present tense. Okay, I'm feeling the sabotage now. Keep it neutral. Don't debate the thought. The goal is to turn the experience into data. A quick, honest label moves you from being inside the story to observing it, collapsing its emotional charge. Step 2. Interrupt. 40 seconds. The neuroscience. Interruption must introduce novelty to create prediction error. The brain's pattern detector expects the autopilot sequence. Your job is to surprise it just enough that it has to update. The core action here is a brief, intentional physiological reset combined with a 2-word verbal anchor. Do this exact sequence. 1. Inhale slowly for 4 counts. 2. Hold 2 counts. 3. Exhale for 6 counts while letting your shoulders drop. 4. Press the pads of your index finger and thumb together for 5 seconds. And 5. Say aloud the 2-word anchor. Switch on. This combination does 3 things at once. The breathing down regulates arousal, the tactile press creates a novel sensory signal, and the verbal anchor binds the new state to language. The physical surprise plus labeling creates the prediction error that stops the sabotage loop. Why those components? Slow exhalation reliably activates the parasympathetic nervous system, lowering heart rate and making worry less convincing. Sensory touch, pinch or fingertip press, recruits somatosensory cortex and provides an unambiguous new input that the brain cannot process as the same old pattern. The verbal anchor re-engages the language centers that help you narrate intentional action rather than being narrated by anxious tics. Together, they create a short window where thoughtful control is easier to access. Step 3. Re-anchor. 40 seconds. The neuroscience. Once arousal is reduced, you need to create a positive, low-effort path to the real task so the brain prefers doing it. This is the micro-commitment principle. Immediately after the interrupt, state one action you will take in the next 60 seconds and reduce it to a tiny, non-threatening behavior. Make it so small you can't argue with it. Examples. I will write one sentence. I will open the folder. I will set the timer for 12 minutes. Say it aloud. Perform a single motion that begins it. Place fingers on the keyboard. Open the document. Hit the timer button. Then label the start. Started. The combination of saying the intention, doing the tiniest physical initiation, and marking it with a word anchors the brain to action rather than avoidance. Putting it together, the full Saboteur Switch is a 90-second loop. 0-10s notice. I'm feeling the sabotage. 10-50s. Interrupt. 4-2-6 breath. Fingertip press. Say switch on. 50-90s re-anchor. Declare a tiny next action. Make one micro move. Say started. That's it. Practice it once intentionally, then use it the next time the inner voice climbs in. You'll notice that the voice becomes less persuasive because you've created a predictable and familiar countersequence for your brain to run instead. Real examples to make it concrete. If you're avoiding a difficult email, notice, I'm avoiding this. Interrupt. 4-2-6 breath. Press fingers. Switch on. Re-anchor. I will write the subject line. Place fingers on keyboard. Started. If it's creative block, notice, blanks are scaring me. Interrupt. Breath. Touch. Switch on. Re-anchor. I will sketch one thumbnail. Pick up pen. started. If it's social anxiety before a call, notice, heart's racing, interrupt, breath, press, switch on. Re-anchor. I will stand and adjust my shoulders, move, started. The content of the micro-action changes. The ritual stays constant. That is what builds reliability. How to make it automatic. 2 techniques accelerate habit formation: implementation intentions and habit stacking. Decide ahead of time when you will use the switch. For example, if I catch myself procrastinating, then I will perform the Saboteur Switch. That conditional phrase wires a context cue to the ritual. Pair the switch with an existing habit like sitting down at your desk or opening a document. That's habit stacking. Do one focused practice round each morning for 5 days. Intentionally trigger the switch when you are calm, so the brain learns the pattern without strong emotional noise. Those calm rehearsals encode the sequence as the low-friction default. Common objections and fixes. It feels silly to say things out loud. Fine, start silently. Saying aloud is more effective because it engages more networks, but whisper or internal phrasing works better than nothing. I don't have time. That's the point. 90 seconds buys you minutes or hours of productive momentum. Sometimes the doubt keeps coming back. Use a second, shorter iteration. 2 deep breaths and a 1-word anchor. Go, followed by a micro move. The goal is not to make the voice vanish forever, but to reduce its power to veto action. Why this works beyond placebo. Labeling transforms internal sensation into an object the brain can manipulate. Interruption introduces novelty and short circuits automatic loops. Micro-commitment exploits decision inertia in your favor. All 3 are supported in behavioral science. Affect labeling reduces emotional intensity. Implementation intentions boost follow-through by 2-3x compared to generic plans, and tiny initiation steps overcome the high activation energy of big tasks. When combined, they produce a synergy far greater than the sum of their parts. How to adapt the ritual for different contexts. If you can't speak, for example, a meeting, use a silent finger press and an internal anchor sentence. If you're walking, switch tactile input to stomping your heel once and breathe. If you have tremors or sensory issues, replace the fingertip press with a visual change. Flip a small card or blink your phone camera light. The core idea is the same. Notice, create a novel sensory interruption, commit to 1 tiny countable start. Practice script you can memorize. Use it until it becomes reflexive. 1. I'm feeling the sabotage. 2. Inhale 4, hold 2, exhale 6, press index and thumb for 5S. Say switch on. 3. I will do 1 tiny thing. Say action. Perform the micro move. Say started. Repeat silently if needed. Do this 3 times in calm moments to encode it. A brief experiment to run for 7 days. Each morning pick a high-value task. Before starting, do the 90-second practice intentionally. Track whether you start the task within 2 minutes after the ritual and how long until you get 25 minutes of uninterrupted work. At day 7, compare average start speed and focus time to your baseline. Most people see a measurable shift by day 3 and a new default by day 10. Final note on mindset. The goal isn't to win over your inner critic permanently. It's to build a reliable counter habit that respects your brain's biology while letting your goals win more often. The Saboteur Switch is a compact, dignified way to do that. It creates space, reduces reactivity, and turns intention into action with minimal friction. Use the ritual, adapt the micro-action to your context, and treat the sequence like a tool in your pocket rather than a moral judgment. If this landed for you, try it now. Pause, say the first line out loud, breathe 4-2-6, press your fingertips, say switch on, pick 1 microscopic action, start it, and say started. Then tell me in the comments what your tiny first move was and how long until you felt momentum. If you want a printable 1-page cheat sheet of the exact words and timing, hit like and subscribe. I'll pin it in the first comment. Go test the switch and see how much a single 90-second habit can shift your day.